at 6:30, we're going to close out. So thank you again for joining us. We'll run through those specific housekeeping items as well. If anybody's having any issues, please let us know. But I think running through pretty well here on my side for what we can see on the screen. Alexia, there we go. Thank you so much. So if you haven't already changed your user ID, please do to your name. And then as well as most of you are very much getting used to mute yourself while others are speaking, but please unmute yourself when you're ready to speak as well. But do virtually raise your hand to share, and you'll have moderators or facilitators be able to call on you, and you'll be able to share at that time. And then, as always, use the chat box for any additional comments. So from here on out, I'd like to introduce the past co-president, Catherine Towner of WIN Communications.
Thank you, Maria. So welcome, everybody. It's fun to see you here. And I'm Kathy Towner. I'm speaking on behalf of our co-presidents, the NAWBO Iowa co-presidents today, who are delightfully AWOL, as a matter of fact, and deservedly so. So they're on break and away from it all. And we are here. Tricia and Lorraine send their greetings. They're with us in spirit, and they hope that you'll all enjoy the event and make the most of it. So on behalf of our NAWBO Iowa chapter, I want to take a moment to thank our very special individual leaders here for their effort putting this together. So Claudia Schabel of Schabel Solutions and Maria Olson of ALM Positioners. Your dedication and persistence is very much appreciated for this event. So thank you, guys. So this is a very special annual event. It's significant in so many ways. As you may remember, it was 1 year ago today, almost exactly, that we were all bumping elbows on the steps of our state governor's mansion last year. And, you know, that in-person event is a one-of-a-kind for us. It's an annual event, and it's remembered all year long, great photos, and it is 100% the sisterhood in action. So sisterhood, we hear that a lot. For me, NAWBO, the sisterhood, is that lift up you didn't expect when you needed it most. So we do this for each other in person and on a personal level. We do this for each other's businesses. When we're talking about advocacy, I believe this is where we take that sisterhood to the next level. You know, we not only lift up NAWBO members, but we advocate to provide that lift for all women business owners in Iowa. And advocacy is public support for a specific cause or policy. Today, we're celebrating NAWBO advocacy. You're here today to participate, to share support for your cause, to lift up your NAWBO sisters, and to advocate for our businesses in Iowa. Today, we have some special guests to help us celebrate advocacy. I'm honored to be able to introduce our next guest. Listen as we hear a few words from Joni Ernst, United States Senator of Iowa.
Hi, everyone. This is Joni Ernst, your junior senator for the great state of Iowa. Well, I'm sorry I can't be with you all in person today. I'm glad to have the opportunity to share a few words during this event. As we celebrate Women's History Month, I'm especially honored to join so many strong women leaders in our state. It's no secret that this has been a difficult year for our small businesses, and I'm grateful for all you've continued to do to keep our local economies up and running during this pandemic. In the Senate, I've worked hard to support our small businesses and working families during these challenging times. Through the Paycheck Protection Program I helped create, we've delivered billions of dollars in COVID-19 relief to more than 60,000 Iowa small businesses. I've also worked across the aisle to support our working moms and dads by securing relief for Iowa's childcare sector. The closure of schools and childcare centers has been detrimental not only to our children, but our working families. Unsurprisingly, the brunt of the responsibility to care for kiddos at home has fallen on women, most notably our moms, who have been among the hardest hit by the economic fallout from COVID-19. In Iowa, Governor Reynolds worked to get our schools safely reopened starting last August, but some states are still failing to get kids back in the classroom. That's why I've been helping to lead the effort at the federal level to safely get our kids back in school and to provide more resources to licensed childcare services, particularly in our rural areas. As a member of the Senate Small Business Committee, I'll keep fighting for pro-growth policies to support our small businesses, particularly women-owned small businesses and working moms and dads. Again, I want to thank you for all your work to grow our economy and make our state the best place to live, work, and raise a family. We are a better nation because of the contributions of women in all walks of life, in all fields of service, and in both chambers of Congress. Thank you all for the opportunity, and thanks for all you do for our great state.
That is great. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Claudia Shabo, President and CEO of Shabo Solutions. It's a pleasure to join you here today. And for those of you that were clapping remarks, please do clap again. I think it's outstanding that she took the time to pre-record these remarks for us. Now, I also wanted to take a moment to recognize our own Iowa legislators that have taken the time out of their busy schedules today to join us. And I'm hoping you can stick around for a few minutes or longer, as much as you can, to understand better who we are and also hear from our members as we engage in a roundtable conversation about issues that are very relevant to the growth of our business. Now, I think I do have a couple of minutes here, and I wanted to just ensure that we're recognizing our senators individually. So Senator Dawn Driscoll, if you are with us, please unmute yourself and say hello. She has not joined yet. I think I see Senator Sarah Garriott. If you are with us, please unmute yourself and say hello.
Hello, everyone.
Thank you so much for joining. Senator Claire Southey, please unmute yourself and say hello.
Hi, everybody. It's so great to see so many of your faces. I really miss your in-person meetings. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you so much for being here. Senator Liz Mathis, please unmute yourself and say hello.
Yes, hi. I'm still here in the Senate chamber. We debated today. So Sarah and Claire sit right in front of me. They got home. I'm still here doing some email. My husband and I have owned a business for 25 years. We've employed 40 people, and it's been quite a year. So I want to hear what everybody else has to say about running a business during COVID, and particularly small business and the efforts that we took to keep afloat. I'm sure you did the same things, and I want to hear about them.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. We'll definitely have a very good conversation, a few minutes here. And did I miss anyone? I don't see anyone else here. Maybe KT, you can do a check for me. Have I missed anyone? I don't think so. Double checking. Okay. So again, thank you for being here. We're excited. This is quite different from last year. As Michelle, the clerk, mentioned in chat, it's last year when we were at Terrace Hill, for me, it was the last event of the year of 2020 that I didn't have to wear a mask in public. So it's unbelievable that a year has gone by already. Now, we do have a special guest for you today. I think she was having some issues logging in to Zoom. So let me just double check. Alexia, do you see our guest? Was she able to log in?
I don't see them on just yet. They're going to try and call in momentarily, so we might jump to her later.
Not a problem. So we're going to be flexible with our agenda, and we're going to come back to Susan later on. Susan Dawson is the president-elect of NAWBO, and we're very excited that she's joining us today, not only because she is the president-elect, but also because she oversees advocacy in that position. And she will have a wonderful insights to share with this group about what NAWBO is working on this year and moving forward. So with that, let me move on to the roundtable. So we'd like to take an opportunity again, and many of you participated in our previous roundtable discussion around issues that are of importance and concern to you and your business. And today we want to have a similar conversation. And the goals are here really to identify the issues and concerns that NAWBO Iowa can advocate on your behalf, can really help amplify your voice as we continue to grow our businesses in the state of Iowa. Second, it's really to understand how these issues may impact our member businesses. We don't always know the details and intricacies of legislation or other circumstances impacting our businesses. So this is an opportunity for us to learn from you, for our senators to learn from you, and for us to learn from each other and have a conversation about it. Next slide, please. There are two main questions that for the roundtable we would like to focus on, but you will have a chance to take this conversation in any direction you want to. And the way we're going to do this is really by breaking down the group into 3 small groups and have a conversation in that small group setting. In each group will have a facilitator, which Katie will be a facilitator and Maria will be the second facilitator, and I'll be the third facilitator with the third group. And the main questions are, if you can go back for a minute, that'll be great. What challenges related to running your business that we should hear about today? What are the challenges related to running your business that we should hear about today? And second question, what would you like us, NAWBO Iowa, to share with our legislators on your behalf, and be specific? And from there, we can go in any direction. But before we jump into that conversation, we have some poll questions that we'd like to ask the group today. And Alexia, I'm going to ask you to launch poll question number 1, please. In front of you, you have question number 1, which says, in your opinion, what are the most important legislative issues in 2021? Select 2 issues. We'll give you a few seconds to vote. Do we have the results for the first question?
Yes, they're coming in. We have 21 out of 26 now.
Okay, perfect. Great. So the topic number 1, boosting the economy and economic development. And topic number 2, fighting COVID-19, getting a vaccine. Great. Thank you for that. Now let's do poll question number 2. Do you know how to advocate for legislative issues that matter to you? Yes or no? Most of you, 71% of you say yes. Wonderful. Third question, please. Would you like more information on how you can educate elected officials about your business? We have the responses. 67% of you said yes. Wonderful. And do we have one more question, Alexia? No, that was it. Perfect. As you can tell, we're collecting this information across the board to have some baseline knowledge about where members are when it comes to advocacy. So thank you for participating. But again, I think the roundtable will really allow us to explore a little bit more some of the critical issues for us in general, but also specifically related to your business. Now, I have been informed that Susan Dawson is on the phone. Susan, are you with us? Please unmute yourself and say hello if you can hear me. My understanding is that Susan is just joining via phone, correct?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Susan, I can hear you. This is Claudia.
Hi, yes, sorry for all the confusion. I don't know why it won't let me in on video, but I'm here.
Wonderful. Thank you for calling in. Yeah, so if you are okay with this, I will turn things over to you after a brief introduction. So
sure, absolutely.
Perfect. So we're going to have Susan share with us an overview of advocacy, as I mentioned before. But before we do that, let me just introduce Susan. Susan Dawson is the partner at the Business Law Department of Navigant Law Group, LLC. She's also the president-elect of NAWBO. Susan is a founder partner at Waltz, Palmer, and Dawson, LLC, and co-host of the popular podcast, 3Bs on the Law. Susan combines the focus and creativity of an entrepreneur with the pragmatism and technical experience of an employment and business lawyer. Over her almost 20-year career of representing local, national, and international businesses, in addition to starting and growing her own business. Susan has been a great advocate for women business owners. And with that, I will give you the floor, Susan. Take it away.
Hi, thank you very much. Hello, everyone. I wish I could see you, but hopefully everyone can hear me, and you can let me know if there's any questions or anything. Someone will let me know that there's a question someone has asked, and I'll try to address it by phone.
We'll do.
Yeah, so as Claudia said, I am Susan Dawson. I am currently the chair-elect for NAWBO National, and I'm also the chair of the National Advocacy Committee. If any of you have been on our advocacy calls or on the advocacy town hall, then you'd be familiar with me. If not, please come join us, because those are great calls that we're having. So where we're at with advocacy currently at the national level, we do have our 2021 NAWBO Advocacy Agenda that was recently released and is up on our website. And we're working hard to find legislation and talk to legislators about these issues that are top on our agenda items. We are a nonpartisan organization, which means that we do not support one side of the aisle or the other. And in fact, we only will support legislation that is supported on a bipartisan basis, which means it has support from across both sides of the aisle. So we are working hard. We do have many opportunities that come to us. Most recently, we've been asked to sign on to a letter to extend the PPP loan. It's just a request, but to extend the application period for PPP loans. We've had other items come to us, other legislators asking us for support or our position on different topics. So we do work really hard on a national level to keep pushing forward and advancing the women business owner and propelling us into those spheres of power, just like our mission statement says. We do hope that as many people as possible can start coming to and joining, if you're interested in advocacy, joining our monthly advocacy calls. What we look for in those calls is feedback from your chapters. What are you hearing in your chapters? What are the concerns? What are the positions that people are taking? How are our businesses doing right now? What are the challenges that we're facing today? We collect these stories, we have this discussion, and then our staff brings them to the Hill and lets them know where we're at and what our members need. We do have a terrific voice on the Hill. It's been growing and growing and growing year by year, and now we have a great reputation there for really understanding and being at the forefront of understanding what women business owners need and how they could be supported. So I don't know if there's anything specific you want me to address, if there's any specific questions you have for me, anything in addition you want me to touch base on?
Yes, absolutely. Susan, this is Claudia. My question is, could you give an overview of the current agenda? And how was that put in place? Just the process of putting that agenda in place, and then what does it take to actually execute upon that agenda?
Sure. So we do surveys quite frequently. There was an uptick in the number of surveys we were sending out once COVID hit, just to keep on the pulse of our members and where they're at. And most recently, we just had a survey. We do not have those results finalized yet. We're waiting on them to be compiled and a report to go out based on those survey results. But our agenda is built on those survey results. If you haven't participated in the survey, then your voice is not getting to us, and you're not letting us know what it is, what's the concern that you want to see addressed. So that is how we compile and create our advocacy agenda. It's based on hearing from our members through the surveys, and we're continuing to grow it through our monthly phone calls as well. We have right now a few key areas that we're focusing on when it comes to what legislation we are working to support or to encourage. One is speaking to the micro businesses, reinvigorating and encouraging the emerging entrepreneur. So underneath that is addressing the definition of what is small. What does small mean? As we know, there are a lot of definitions used depending on what government agency you're working with, but currently fewer than 500, there's a 500 or less designation, but is that really small business? That is not, that's not our perception of small business. So working with the lawmakers to try to get them to reflect on that. Understanding that the next level, there's some other items in there as well, but the next item we focus on is accessing capital, which continues to be a struggle for women business owners. And there we're pushing for more education. When the COVID loan came out, it was taken by fewer women business owners than men business owners. And, women have a tendency to think carefully and be cautious when entering into loans and bringing in capital. And is that due to a lack of appropriate information being pushed out? So we've actually talked to the legislature. I was actually on a call with some members of the Biden transition team before he was installed, talking about the lack of consistent, up-to-date information to make people aware of what the PPP loan even meant for you. But also just working on, in addition, just to continue accessing forms of capital. Like I said, right now looking at trying to extend that PPP loan period. The next level we're focusing on is any legislation that would help support scaling for women business owners. Many women business owners struggle to get beyond $350,000 in revenue and get to that over $1 million threshold. As you know, and someone don't quote me if the percentages have changed, but my understanding is that only 3% of women business-owned businesses have $1 million or more in revenue. So we're trying to work with legislatures, the lawmakers in the legislature, to understand how to help scale our businesses? What do they need to be able to build beyond their current potential? The next step would be talking about utilizing and receiving technology. During COVID, it became very clear that there was a disconnect in the education level from a technology perspective and people's capability of using technology, but also what technology do our small businesses have the resources to be able to adapt if we're going into such a virtual environment. How much can our small businesses afford to be bringing on this technology and support? So we're working on legislation around the need for not only innovative technology, but also how to make it reliable and affordable and accessible to all small business owners. And then lastly, we are looking at caring for the business owner and the caretaking flexibilities for the employee. What that comes down to is talking about the need for a solid healthcare system, a need for support for child care support for our not only women business owners, but also the employees. Also looking at the employee classification system, and which is the 1099 or the W-2 concept, or even in the employee classification system, the exempt versus non-exempt employee, which talks about overtime and the restrictive language of those laws that do not allow women the flexibility that they need in order to support and care for a family if they are forced to be an employee versus the 1099 freedom of control in the 1099 concept, or if we have employees, for example, I know that in my business we struggle with employees that want to work 45 hours one week and they want to work 35 the next so they can go to a child doctor appointment during the week or something of that sort, and because of overtime rules we can't allow that. So we're working on trying to talk more about legislative advancements and things that can be done in those areas. So that is a lot. If you understand, that is a lot of items, and there's a lot of legislation that touches on these items, but this is where our focus is currently. Mm-hmm. And then what do we do with that? We continually talk to our members, ask where they're at, ask how they're doing, ask how they feel about different legislation being proposed. That comes on our monthly call. And then we take that information and we go to the Hill and we talk to legislators, and our staff representatives, Al and Katie, they are in DC and they spend countless hours for us, for our members, in trying to get our voices heard. And they've been very, very successful on that.
That's great, Susan. Thank you so much. We would love to entertain a few questions from the audience now. And Susan said she can think on the fly. So
sure.
Is that fair, Susan?
Yeah, no absolutely.
Questions off limit here. Anyone interested? Sure. And you can raise your hand digitally, and Alexia and Katie, Maria, and I will try to help out so we have a smooth transition from speaker to speaker. I see that, Michelle, you have unmuted yourself. Would you like to go first?
Sure. I have a question, Susan, in regards to being a voice more within the state government. And I've learned how to get my lobbyist license. And I'm just wondering, when going and speaking to different legislators at the Capitol level, how much is too much, and how much is being passionate about too many things? Is there really the goal that someone should only focus on one or two things? Is it, the squeaky wheel does not get very far in something like that and it becomes annoying? I'm really passionate about fairness and diversity and making sure that all people are treated well, regardless if, for me personally, if I'm the winner, that's not important to me. I want to see us advocate for the good of the common Iowan, and women in business is a passion of mine. So I'm just interested in learning more about how to take it to the next level.
Sure. It sounds to me, is your question more broad in nature and not specific to advocating on behalf of NAWBO?
It would be broad. I'm just curious, you know, when you've gone and spoken and stuff, you need to get a start. But if I want to go beyond just women issues and I want to take it into other issues that I believe are important, or bills or things that I just see, advocacy in that realm.
Sure. Well, I can speak to you from our experience and how we address that with the NAWBO. We are very specific in what our mission is and what we are trying to achieve. So I would say that it's important to you, you know, if you're advocating outside of the NAWBO concept, to be specific and understand what is your position and what is your, you know, what are you trying to move forward, and not getting pulled down into areas that really don't focus on that core. Some of the things that we have seen at NAWBO, if we're not focused and we're not careful, then your voice gets ignored. And you can't say one thing in support of one bill and then speak in opposition on another bill and not have a reason for that, not have a clear mission and be able to explain why this is what you're focused on. In terms of how much is too much, that's really, you know, I don't want to say there isn't such a thing as there's too much, because at a certain point you will start to be ignored if what you're coming to them is not valid and relevant. But it's about building that reputation so that they know that what you're coming to them with is important, does have a rational basis, and is something that they should take seriously.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great question, Michelle. Thank you. Do we have any other hands up, Alexia? No questions at this point.
Marianne Kennedy. Yeah.
Marianne. Oh, okay. We're actually looking for the digital hand.
Yes, I got my real hand up.
Your real hand. Go ahead, Marianne. You have the floor.
Thank you. And thank you, Susan, for being here. And that is certainly a plate full of projects and endeavors and things to get accomplished. So my question is are there any particular ones that are close to being completed or coming to fruition? What can you tell us about any particular progress?
Well, everything is a work in progress right now because we have a new administration in place. So whenever there's that transition in administration, it takes a while to build up and start to have those goals achieved. Right. In the previous administration, we were bringing our information related to how our members were doing with COVID to the legislator, and not necessarily to the administration itself, but as that's, so when I say that we're bringing it to legislators, I'm not saying we were going to necessarily to the White House. I just mean that when you change an administration, everything becomes in flux, if you understand. You know, it's different. It's to some degree different people negotiating, right? Different parties at play. But we were very successful in bringing our voice to the members and making their concerns heard. So we're hopeful that the same is happening here. We are looking at the bill that is currently back, I believe, on the House floor. I haven't gotten an update to see where that is at. And speaking with individuals regarding you know, some of the concerns we have, like for example, we want the PPP to be extended and other concerns. So we won't know how close we are until it's accomplished, but it is constantly a work in progress. It's constantly talking, constantly letting people know that we're here and this is what we're concerned about. So it might take a little bit longer, but we have a really solid voice, and there are very high level people that are coming to us for the first time in years, or I shouldn't say first time. I mean, it's been going on for a couple of years, but more and more and more, we are getting asked by very high level people on the Hill, what are our voice? What are we saying? What are our members saying? That's why these monthly calls are so important, because that's where we get our information. Does that answer your question?
And that's a good reminder to all of our members. Yes, thank you.
Right.
I understand that, and I appreciate the reminder.
Yep, and the reminder I should mention about our Advocacy Day coming up in June. They are virtual again this year, but if you haven't attended an Advocacy Day previously, go to the website and check out the agenda. There's a lot going on with this year's Advocacy Day. Even though it's virtual, we are still getting our voice heard. We're still coming together, and we'll be hearing from individuals reporting back as to how legislation is progressing in those areas that we're concerned on.
Great. Thank you, Susan. Thank you, Marianne, for asking a question. I wanted to alert everyone that I dropped a link in chat to the actual agenda on the NAWBO.org website. And there you can see all the details that Susan covered today as she was speaking to us. She went into all of those pillars. So I recommend that you familiarize yourself with that agenda. Any last remarks to move to the round table, Susan?
No, I think just again, thanks everyone for letting me come on and talk to you. I am always here, always available to anybody who has questions. And I can't say enough, I know I've said it many times, please come to our monthly calls. If at least, even if you can have just one person from your chapter that's collecting the voice and coming and reporting back on the calls, you know, if everybody can't get on, that's fine, but having somebody from your chapter on those calls is very important. We do have, if you missed our town hall, it is recorded. I believe that we've sent out links to the chapter leaders for that town hall. If you don't have access to the link, we can get that out to you again if you want to hear the last town hall that we had, which is just our quarterly, here's what's going on. So that's not like our monthly calls where everyone gets to chat and talk and you give us feedback. The town halls tell you where we are, what progress we have made, and what our status is with respect to what we're working on.
Very good.
I hope to see everybody at the Advocacy Days.
Very good. And just so, if there is anyone wondering who's attending it, I have been attending those calls on behalf of NAWBO Iowa since we lead the Advocacy Committee. And anyone who's a part of the Advocacy Committee will be extended an invitation to join us and help represent Iowa on those calls. So if you're interested in joining the committee, let us know. Now, I want to, and Susan said that she's going to stick around and participate in the conversation with us. Susan, let us know or you can let Alexia know if that still works for you since you're calling in. But I'd love for you to get a taste for the round table. We're going to move into a conversation with the group, and I'll remind everyone about the questions that we want you to be thinking about. One, what challenges related to running your business? What are the challenges related to running your business that you like to, that we should hear about today? Is it childcare? Is it access to capital, or something that we haven't heard about yet? And then two, what would you like us, NAWBO Iowa, to share with our representatives on your behalf? And be specific as much as you can, and take the conversation beyond these two questions, please. You will be put in a room again with a small group, about 10 people. We're asking our senators on the call who graciously attended our meeting to stay and join in the conversation. And you can also hop around from one breakout room to another, senators, not the members. The members will stay put, but senators, Alexia will give you instructions directly as to how you can do so. So let me put also in chat the ground rules. I want to make sure that we all know what the ground rules are. So basically, all voices matter. Please share your thoughts in a succinct manner. No interruptions. Facilitators will help you with that. Let's please minimize distractions as much as possible. We'd love for you to be fully present and engage with us. And that's about it. So I think we're ready to get started. Any questions?